Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, and welcome to Mustache Off Grid. Wow, that was nice. Wow, that was good. Boy. Hey, I forgot to introduce my dog Bailey on the intro. Bailey, let's look at him. Let's look him in the eye. Come on, boy. Forgot to introduce Bailey. I didn't put him in the video today because he likes to chase the ball, and yesterday his back leg was hurting, so I wanted him to kind of rest up here. So that's why I didn't have him in the introduce him in the trick shot. But really, it's his channel. He edits the videos and everything, so. Woo! Hi, I'm Grant Nelson with the Mustache Off-Grid YouTube channel. In case you're new to the channel, I cover various off-grid and homesteading topics, and I live off-grid in southern Missouri in a one-room cabin with no public utility hookups, so I live completely off-grid. Every week on Tuesday at 2 p.m. usually, I have a weekly talk show, which is what this is, and I discuss various homesteading and off-grid topics. I'm going to get into the topics today. I do have a special guest that that's going to be on the show today. I'm not sure if they want to be on the show or not, so it depends. I'm thinking I'm going to have a special guest on the show, but we'll see how it goes. So anyway, first thing I was going to talk about is when you go off-grid and you're homesteading, you're going to start out and you're going to have a lot of big projects to do. You know, a lot of infrastructure projects, I guess would be the words for it. Maybe you want to build a barn, a house, get a well drilled. You know, your main staple things that you're working on when you first go off-grid. And there's going to come a point, if you do go off-grid and you have a little land and a homestead, that you're going to get all your infrastructure built. Your house is good, your barn is good, your sheds are good. You know, you've got all your animal pens built, all that kind of stuff. And at that point, it's just maintenance. And even when there is maintenance, if you're trying to be self-sufficient, completely self-sufficient off the land, you're going to be consistently coming up with new projects and ideas to do that of varying degrees. And as far as it goes, the maintenance is kind of what I wanted to talk about today a little bit. You know, I was shooting my guns down the hill here the other day and sighting in my crossbow and my guns, and getting ready to get a deer for the season, maybe 2 deer. And the guns were a little rusty, and I realized that I was going to need to oil them. Which I'm going to need to do here pretty shortly. And it just made me realize all the different maintenance things that I do every day. And once you get your infrastructure built off-grid, which is kind of what you should start with, you know, the bread and butter of your homestead, you're going to have a lot of maintenance that you're going to have to keep up on. And as far as it goes, you know, I made a list of some of the different maintenance that I could think of, just kind of spitballing. And I wrote down, you know, obviously, like I said, oiling my firearms, taking care of my firearms and those kind of things is going to be important, or they'll break and they will be useless, and they're an investment in sustainable food and sustainable self-defense. the next thing that I wrote down was trees in your garden. I mean, as far as fruit trees go, that's, you know, a no-brainer that you're going to have to prune them. You're going to have to fertilize them. You're going to have to plant them. And you're going to have to take care of them annually. There's different things you got to do annually to make sure your fruit trees are, you know, in good health. And I wrote down gardening too, and this week, that kind of crossed my mind. I was filling up my raised bed with rabbit manure, and I was, you know, putting down fall fertilizer and going to let that break down over the fall, and I'm going to put in some fall potatoes. But you're going to be consistently maintaining and working that soil to make it better every single year. So you're going to be consistently adding organic matter every year. And I've talked about this in some of my other videos, but it's important maintenance-wise to build your soil. You know, out here I'm always picking up rocks. I've got rocks all over, so that's a lot of maintenance. It's just picking up rocks, digging up rocks, moving rocks. Firewood's a maintenance thing, you know, keeping up on it, cutting it, splitting it. I was just putting a damper in my chimney, and I had to, you know, disconnect the pipe, make sure the pipe was cleaned out, there was no creosote in it. Then I installed the damper over there. I had to move my generator up the hill and drill some holes, and I put a damper in. I didn't have one last year. I ran it full bore the whole year, and sometimes they'd go out, but I think the damper is going to help a little bit. I also ran some new lights into my building up there, and solar lights that I bought, the string lights, but I ran them through the wall. And I ordered some blankets to tack to the ceiling to make it a little better insulated. So we'll see what that does. But, you know, like I said, you're going to be consistently maintaining things and improving upon things. A system of continuous improvement. When I went to business school, they called that Kaizen, I think. System of continuous improvement, and it was something they talked about in Japanese business, that they always had a system of continually improving their production. There was a couple other things that philosophy included, including like just-in-time shipping and things like that. This is way not off-grid topic that I'm talking about here, but system of continuous improvement is important, you know, and you can't have improvement if where you're at is degrading and getting worse. So if you're not maintaining things, you're not going to be improving, because the things are going to be getting worse, and you know, you can't improve upon something that's, I mean, you can improve upon something that's worse, but you'll get back to the middle, if that makes sense. I mean, that's just, you know, kind of an opinion, but I could see that being realistic, you know, if you really think about it in your mind. But also I talked about maintaining hygiene. I talked a little bit about that, maintaining your health, your hygiene, your well-being. I wrote down a list just so you guys could hear some of the different things I have on my list right now to work on, and most of them are maintenance, some of them are fixing things, but I have listed to build a pig hut, hang electric fence wire, fix the power steering on the truck. That is definitely going to be like up there, so I'm going to write 1 next to that. Fix the tire on the truck. I have a 3rd flat tire on the truck, so that's going to be number 2. And then lime the chicken coop, clean out the chicken coop, fill the raised beds with manure. That I'm about done with. I have 1 smaller raised bed left. Plant potatoes, clean the pigeon coop, clean my house, laundry, edit YouTube videos, build log cabin, lift logs off the ground. I have a couple of the logs for the log cabin that are still sitting on the ground. I'm gonna put some shorter logs underneath and lift them up. Oil guns, shoot processed deer, smoke, salt, and can. And I also have to add my squash to the root cellar barrels. I still haven't done that, but I've been planning to do it for weeks, and I've just been putting it off and putting it off. But it doesn't matter. They're kind of seasoning, and we haven't had a frost yet, so that's all good. But the point is that you're going to have all kinds of things that you're going to need to maintain if you're going off grid. The more things you get, the more things you have to maintain. And obviously animals, you're going to have to maintain them. Like for example, I have sheep, which I'll show you a short video clip of my sheep right here. That one's named Loretta, the black one. And the white one is the ram. His name is Hercules. I named her after Loretta Lynn, and obviously Hercules is a pretty self-explanatory name, but I'm hoping she'll have some lambs. She's been getting a little bit of a bag, and she's getting kind of fat. I kind of have a feeling that she's pregnant, but she hasn't really been showing yet. And generally, you need to worm your sheep once a year. Out here, you probably should worm them twice a year because we don't get a hard freeze necessarily, and sometimes it dethaws, and I think they tend to get a little bit wormy in the wintertime, actually. Also, you have to trim their hooves at least once or twice a year. If you have wool sheep, you're going to have to shear them once a year. You're going to have to deal with the lambs and penning the ewe up separate with the lamb so that it doesn't have problems out there in the pasture. Watering, feeding, other, health sicknesses and disease that might come. Maybe yours gets sick and one gets sick and gets a disease, and you got to pen it up separately and start giving it shots of penicillin or something like that. But you're going to be consistently maintaining things. The rabbits are one thing that I maintain quite a bit as well. Like I talked about the rabbit manure and everything like that. And getting into that here, yeah, maintenance is important. And, all these things and stuff you're going to get if you go off grid. And, most importantly, don't forget to maintain your relationship with Jesus Christ as far as that goes. That's more important than anything that you could have. Because maybe we live, 70, 80, 90 years here on earth, and you've got another infinite to go. So, this is short on the spectrum of the world and the future of everything. Your lifespan is short on the historical time span, but it doesn't have to be. Because you got eternal life in heaven if you're maintaining that relationship with Jesus Christ and making sure you give him some time and taking care of your needs with him. But anyway, I'm going to get into the next topic. One thing I wanted to discuss as well, talking about the amount of maintenance required on a homestead. Some people like to think, and I've kind of seen this popular public idea online on places I shouldn't be looking at, Facebook and things like that, oh, there's a car on the road up there. But anyway, it's a popular opinion or thought for a bunch of people to pool their money together and get a bunch of acres and create a commune together. And it's a free country. If someone wants to do that, that's their own prerogative and it's their own money. And I'm not a big fan of people telling other people how to spend their money, as long as it ain't going to hurt anyone. But that being said, most people, when they think of a commune, you think of like a hippie commune. Some people might think of the religious communes like Jim Jones and drinking the Kool-Aid and that kind of thing. And but when I think of a commune, the best commune that I think of is like the Amish community. The key thing though is that everyone owns their own property and land. It's not individually owned. I mean, it's not owned as a pooled together investment like some of these communes that lock you in and things like that. And as far as it goes, and I really think the main reason that they're successful is their faith. They're all based around the faith in Jesus Christ, and that helps a lot, you know, with their barn raising things and things like that. And they're not over the top overbearing on one guy making projects and everyone working on them. It's mostly working together, and each individual has their own goals and thoughts on things, and if they need help they would go to a neighbor to ask them, which I'm more of a fan establishing community in a way of loving your neighbors, going to church and meeting people and being friendly that way, or other places that are good places to meet people. The commune kind of thought, to me, I've never really liked the idea, truthfully. It's just, I don't know, some about it, and most of those places do fail. I did do a little research on it and watch some videos on some and things, because I wanted to be somewhat educated on the topic if I was going to talk about it on my video. And you know, there's some that are successful, but truthfully, I think the style and the way of living just wouldn't be a way for me. I'm truthfully, as funny as it sounds, I'm more of a introverted person. You know, I don't like groups of people and things like that, and I like my privacy. You know, I like to be able to sit on my porch in privacy and drink my coffee, and you know, not have anyone bother me. Not that I don't like people or help people if they need help and things like that. It's just I like having some privacy to myself. And most of those communes, I think the wickedness of man kind of creeps in, and they become a little more of a, you know, I don't know, some people call it like a cult, you know, but I don't know, they don't work out because the wickedness of man creeps in, and one person, you know, causes problems, and it causes problems for the rest of them because they all are together in one group, and it only takes one or two people to really cause a lot of problems. I came out here for peace and tranquility, and in my opinion, I don't think people bring that. Even the best people, somewhere down in their spine and in their heart, deceitful heart, there's a time and a place where they would be a problem in a setting like that. One thing I also see a lot of, which I'm really kind of a fan of it, and the Amish do it a lot, is a lot of families that homestead. Me, I'm a single guy out here in the woods, so I don't have that many people that, I don't have anyone that stays out here with me, and I like it that way. But I see that the Amish usually have big families. They have 6 to 12 kids, and the kids all help out with the farm work. You know, they'll have them planting the rows in the gardens and things like that, and they each have their individual chores. I'll say this, that rabbits are a good chore for kids to do, or chickens or things like that, small livestock for younger kids, and it teaches them responsibility. And I like that the Amish raise their kids that way, and they're all very respectful people. But anyway, that being said, I think a family is a lot better off-grid. If you have a family and you're on a property, you know, that's better. I think it's important that individual people own their own land. You know, obviously anywhere you go, you're going to have, I mean, not anywhere, but if you go to a place where there's people around, you're going to have neighbors, and neighbors can cause problems. They don't always. Mine don't. Mine are great neighbors. But if I wanted to be in a social setting and live in a commune, I would live in an apartment complex, or I would live in town, because that's what those things are, if you really think about it. And I don't want to live in either one of those things. So anyway, that's just my opinion on communes. I like my privacy. If I wanted to be around people, I'd live in town. I think families can be good on a homestead, instead of having a community of random people come together. Not saying it can't work, or that, you know, it's not for someone, but it's just not for me. But anyway, here guys, I'm going to bring the special guest onto the show here. We'll see if she wants to cooperate or not. All right, we'll see what she thinks here. Hey there. Here she is, guys. I brought her onto the show. She's a very friendly doe here. Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna like me. I put a carrot in there, but I don't know if she wants it. Anyway, yeah, she's a little nervous right now, guys. But we'll see if we can give her a carrot if she'll want one. I bought carrots just for her, actually. I don't think she's gonna want it, but we'll try it. And anyway, guys, if this rabbit's real friendly, she's a little nervous right now. I don't want to make her too nervous. And being she was friendly and I've been, you know, taking good care of her, I figured that I'd let you guys, I usually don't name my rabbits, but I wanted to see if any of the viewers wanted to give her a name. But she's very, very friendly. She's a little bit standoffish though. She gets a little nervous. I don't hold her a ton, and she'll get friendlier the more that I am nice with her. But I was gonna see if the viewers on the channel wanted to give her a name for the channel. So let me know in the comments what you guys would like me to name the rabbit. I got this one. This one is actually one that I raised myself. I raised her myself. She's from one of my first litters. Hey, easy girl, easy. Now when you guys get a rabbit, you can grab them right behind the back ears on the back neck skin, and that kind of tenses them up so they're a little friendlier. Generally, it's good to lift underneath their butt as well when you're doing that. Hey there, girl. It's okay. See, she's a little scared here, guys. That's okay. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what you want me to name her, and we'll let her be the channel rabbit. I already have a channel dog, so I figured why not give her a channel rabbit. Being it's getting into the fall time here, she's been shedding a little bit. She's kind of going into her winter molt and putting on nicer fur. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about raising rabbits, and I wanted to talk a little bit about why you should raise rabbits. First off, I have another video on rabbits, but I'm sure that since I put out that video, I've gotten a lot of new subscribers to the channel. So I'll put a link to that in the description as well. But from 6 does, in the right conditions, you can get 600 pounds of fryers a year if you're raising them for meat, which I do raise them for meat. I sell some and I raise some for meat. But anyway, from 6 does, you can get 600 pounds of fryers. Whether you are living on a homestead, or you're already off-grid, or maybe you just want to go off-grid, or maybe you're stuck in town and you're just wanting to be a little more self-sufficient, rabbits don't require a ton of space. You know, if you have a cage that's 30 by 30 or bigger, bigger the better, always with rabbit cages. But if you have a cage that is 30 by 30, you know, and you can get a couple does, you know, it's a great way to produce some meat and some of your own well-being in town. I feed mine pellets. I feed them H&S pellets. They're actually a complete feed. It's probably good to give them some hay and stuff. In the summertime, I side down the grass, and in the evenings, I'll give them hay. Usually a few times, or not hay, but grass. Grass clippings a few times a week. If you do feed them grass clippings, make sure that you're not putting any pesticides or things like that on your lawn that would harm your rabbits. But they can eat grass, you know, just as well, just like a wild rabbit. but they're a very easy meat source. They're low maintenance, they're easy to catch like a cattle or a sheep. They're a lot, you know, you have to go out there in the pasture and catch them and things like that, and they're a little bit harder to process. For me, because I live off grid, I don't have a refrigerator, so generally if I want to eat a rabbit, I go over to the cages and I get one and I butcher it and I clean it, and then I eat it for dinner or lunch or, you know, whatever I'm eating. They don't require refrigeration that way, but if you do have refrigeration or a freezer, then you can put them in there. I don't seem like I'm very focused, guys, so I'm going to put her back in the cage because she's very warm, and I'm just not that focused, so because I have the rabbit in my hands. Go back in there, girl. Good girl. All right, so anyway, from 6 does you can get 600 pounds of meat a year, but even a couple does, you'd be surprised how much you're going to get, guys. It's a lot. You're going to get more rabbits than you can eat from 2 or 3 does. If you're breeding one a month and chronologically like that, and you have a plan like that, and you have 4 rabbits, 1 buck, and 3 does, you're going to get a ton of meat. And they also produce really nice furs, and the fur of the rabbit is really good, because a lot of animals like coons and deer and things like that, sheep, cows, if you get a pelt, it's very thick leather, and rabbit pelts are very thin. They're very easy to tan because they're very thin. You can actually tan them with an egg yolk. I've seen videos of people doing it online. So if you're interested in the fur and maybe making, you know, little pouches out of it or purses or things like that, you know, that's a completely another aspect you could get into. But they provide a great meat source. They can provide good fur. If you're eating a wild rabbit, it's almost like a completely different species than farm-raised rabbits. These ones have a lot of fat on them. And they don't, they have a lot of fat on them, and wild rabbits don't. And actually, if you're in a survival situation, and it's only happened a few times back in human history, you know, out on the Oregon Trail and things like that, and people were eating only wild rabbits, and they would starve to death because there's not enough fat in it to keep your body sustained. And they call it protein poisoning. And it's a combination of only eating protein, but also having not enough fats in your diet to digest them. So if you're only eating wild rabbit, you're going to have problems. But as long as you have a balanced diet, maybe you have some potatoes you grow, some okra, some other things, some beets, you know, tomatoes, things like that. As long as you have other things in your diet, you're not going to have that problem. It's only if you're eating rabbit, because that's all that there is to eat. And like I said, the farm-raised rabbits have a ton of fat on them. They actually have a lot of marbling. But part of the reason that I'm planning to raise hogs in the pen over here is to get that lard, which I've talked about in other videos, which I like to cook my rabbits with and add a little fat to it. But they're a very lean meat and very healthy for you, very heart-healthy meat because of that. Very healthy meat is my point that I'm getting at here. But the starvation aspect in a survival situation isn't healthy, but if you're just eating rabbits, you know, as an everyday meal, as a supplement, you know, on your diet, and you're eating, you know, 1 or 2 or a couple every week, and, you know, you're working hard and you've got other things in your diet, and a well-balanced meals, then it's not going to be like that, where in a survival situation, oh, you just grill over and die. Anyway, that sounds kind of rough putting it that way, but that's just the truth of it. Another thing about the rabbits, good benefit here, guys. First off, like I said, they don't require a lot of space. They can produce a lot of meat. They actually convert meat, grass and roughage and everything like that to meat 6 times more efficient than cattle. They're by far the most efficient animal for converting feed to meat that people raise that I know of. But they provide great fertilizer. Rabbit manure is probably the best fertilizer, and it works well with me because I feed them. I eat some rabbits, I sell some rabbits, and then I put the fertilizer on my garden, till it into the soil. Maybe I put some leaves or some straw in as well. And that's all I use is rabbit manure and wood ash for my gardening. So I mean, those are two things that you can produce on your own, and if you don't want to use commercial fertilizers or fertilizer from the store, it's an option. Even if you have a small garden, a few rabbits will do. Now, I have probably, I would think that I have about 14 or 15 does right now, and I have 3 bucks, and so 14 or 15 does, 3 bucks, and then I've got about 20, 25 bunny rabbits right now, the real little ones that are just hopping around right now. So I've got tons of rabbits, almost too many rabbits, honestly. I'm planning to sell the bunny rabbits in the next month here, probably. But the thing that I'm getting at is that if you have a couple rabbits, it'll provide, you know, good fertilizer for a small garden. But you might, like the amount of rabbits that I have produces more than enough fertilizer. It takes a lot of them to get a mass amount of fertilizer. Like if you were going to do a 1/4 acre or a 1/2 acre garden or something like that, you're going to need more rabbits than just 1 or 2. Now, I'm not saying you can't get some good fertilizer and a lot of fertilizer for 1 or 2. I mean, you could probably get enough to fertilize a 10 by 20 plot pretty well with 1 or 2 for a whole year of rabbit manure. But if you're trying to really get that soil, you're going to need a lot of rabbits. That's just something I'd like to mention. But they work well in a permaculture setting like that, where you're trying to, they have the best manure nutrition-wise, in my opinion, other than some people claim horse manure. It's not acidic, so you can apply it right to the ground when the seed's in the ground, and it breaks down as the seed's in the ground. So that's a plus, where like chicken manure and poultry manure and other manures can be quite acidic, and sometimes things don't grow quite as well directly in them. But rabbit manure doesn't have that problem. But anyway, it's great fertilizer. So that's another use for them. Especially if you're in an urban setting and you have a small garden and some rabbits, they would work very well together. Or even a small homestead, because they don't require a lot of space. They can provide a pretty good business, you know, if you're in an area and you sell some rabbits, you know, sell the bunnies on Craigslist or things like that. That can be a very good option for an income for your homestead. I'm not saying that you're going to be a multi-millionaire off it. You could be if you do it right. And if you have like meat processing permits, they actually require certain permits if you're going to sell rabbits for meat. The FDA and USDA and all those other unconstitutional organizations require you to buy a permit and have inspections done and all kinds of stuff if you want to sell them for meat. So I just sell them live. But if you have a freezer and stuff, you can sell them for meat and get that permitting and stuff, and it can be quite a pretty good business. And that way you can keep them on ice, and you can sell them in bulk to certain places and have contracts and things like that if you want to do it as a big business. I have a neighbor that used to raise rabbits, and I think he said that he used to have 100 does back in the 80s, and a company called Pelfrey's used to come out here and buy all the rabbits. And I don't know if they still do that or not, or if you can still contract and sell rabbits with them. I haven't really looked into it. I'm not really interested in doing it on a scale like that. But it's something to look into. If you're looking at selling rabbits, it can actually be a great business thing as well. You could also probably sell the furs if you're making, you know, crafts and things like that out of the rabbit furs. But there's a lot of maintenance involved with the rabbits as well, which is why I kind of brought this topic up. And I was talking about maintenance earlier in the video. And the Rabbit manure, first off, you're going to have to load the rabbit manure into your gardens and put it into the gardens, and that's going to be a lot of maintenance as well. But also cleaning the cages. It's pretty good practice to clean your cages every month. I have to bleach out the water bottles because I use water bottles generally once a month to clean them. Buying the feed, making sure the feed is stored correctly. I store it in those big barrels with a locking lid in my building over here. Also making sure if your rabbits have diseases or illness that you're taking care of that. If you use wood hutches, sometimes they can get ear mites, and it's very easy to take care of ear mites. They have, all you have to do is put a little bit of olive oil in their ear or mineral oil. I always just use olive oil, and the ear mites will disappear in a few weeks. So you just kind of rub it in their ear like this. So that's a maintenance thing that you might have to deal with if any of your rabbits get ear mites or other diseases. See, what else am I thinking? Weaning the little bunnies, building the hutches, you know, is another thing you might have to deal with if you're building your own rabbit hutches, which I do, just because it's cheaper. I feed my rabbits about 6 ounces of pellets a day per doe. It's a complete feed. I don't give any hay or anything like that unless it's the summertime. Like I said, then I give grass in the evenings often. But 6 ounces of pellets a doe. If you overfeed them, they'll get fat and unhealthy, and they also won't be able to breed. If they get too fat, they won't breed, or the litters that they have will only be like 1 or 2. They'll have real small litters if you feed them too much. It's kind of a weird thing. You'd think the opposite, but no, if you feed them too much, they actually have, they breed worse, and they have smaller litters, and they don't do as well. Rabbits naturally are a very lean animal, like I said, so putting a lot of fat on them like that is very unhealthy. Let's see if I wrote anything else down here. I think that's everything I had talking about the rabbits for the video. But I thought it'd be some interesting for the talk show. Bring one of the live rabbits on the show. She's a wonderful rabbit. And like I said, let me know in the comments what you'd like me to name the rabbit. I bought some carrots from the store here. I bought these carrots from the store, and she don't really seem to like them. But I'll give each of them a couple in their cages, and I'm sure they'll eat them in the evening time. But I thought that she was gonna really eat the carrot right out of my hand, but she don't seem to want it. But anyway, let me know what we should name her, guys. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and God bless. Hey, come out here. Come out here. See it? See it? See it? We've got 3 Scooby snacks for you. You ready? Come on, boy. Sit, 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 sit. Nice catch. Nice catch. All right, we're going to get you 2 more. 2 more, one at a time, boy. Come out here. Sit, 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 sit. Nice catch, dude. All right, sit, sit, sit. Come on. Come on. Sit, sit. Nice catch. Nice catch. We're getting some range on those ones. Come here, boy. Good boy. Yes, lay down. Oh, you don't want to lay down. All right.